Hi, everybody. I'm here with Lydia to talk about something that's kind of off topic, I guess, for my channel, but whatever. I just talk about whatever. Um, Apparently, I talk about all of my various mental, physical, and neurological health issues or differences. I want to talk about other things at some point. But anyway, this is kind of a useful topic for somebody who might be struggling with a diagnosis. I wanted to talk about the differences between celiac and IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. There are other videos about this that are more, she's saying hi, hi, that are more medical, and that get into what's actually happening in your body and why. And the differences on that level, which is cool, and you should watch those too. But I just want to talk about the difference and how they feel, because I have celiac, but I am dealing with a hopefully temporary bout of IBS that I didn't realize this could happen, but it can be triggered by norovirus, which I got about a month and a half ago now. And long story short, the virus is long gone, but I've had these IBS symptoms develop in its stead. And on the surface, there's a lot of similarities between the two. Your stomach might be upset, or you might get stomach cramps, nausea, tiredness, to be really vague, like tiredness, and emotional stuff, including depression or anxiety, diarrhea or constipation. I think with both of them are possibilities. And, stuff like that, the basic kind of GI tract stuff. So it sounds really similar, but I just want to express, yeah, she's got it. They feel pretty different. And so these are the differences that I perceive. Yes. He's not here, sweetie. Yeah. Okay. So for celiac, my experience with celiac, and it's not going to be exactly the same for everybody, but my experience with celiac is I almost always get diarrhea, sometimes constipation, but usually it's the former. And I tend to get skin issues that show up too often with it. I won't get into that, but that's definitely not there with IBS. And I get a lot of inflammation, and I might get some stomach upset too, where it's like certain things really don't feel good in my belly, like alcohol. I can't really drink especially hard alcohol if I've just been gluten'd, or if I've just accidentally consumed gluten somehow. It depends on the severity. There's things that affect the severity of the poisoning experience. Sometimes it's not that bad. Sometimes it's quite bad and lasts for a really long time. So yeah. It'll just feel uncomfortable and not good to have certain things, like alcohol. And I feel my whole body gets inflamed, and I feel it in my brain too. Like my brain will feel kind of like it's on fire, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but that's the best I can think to explain it. It's very unpleasant, and it makes me feel kind of more emotionally reactive than I normally would. I just feel raw. I feel very raw. and my whole body just feels in a similar way, just inflamed and unpleasant in a way I can't totally put words to. It's not exactly pain, although it does make certain pain issues in my body worse because of the inflammation. And it drags on my energy, it drains me, but the way that feels is like a fatigue, where if you've experienced fatigue, it's very distinct. It's distinct from just being tired in that it doesn't get better, for one thing, if you rest. Like, resting doesn't help. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like having your whole body and your whole self be kind of weighted down. It's hard to move. It's like everything's moving through molasses. And on top of that, you get something that's often called brain fog. I think that's a really good way to describe it, because it's just hard to think about anything. Even simple things can be really challenging. Like someone asks you a question, like, what do you want for lunch? And you just stand there, slack-jawed, dumbfounded for, whatever, 10 seconds. You're just like, I have no idea. Like, your brain is like trying to think about, what do those words even mean? And then how do I, and some of this might be my language processing issues, but it's not just that. It's like, if my language processing issues more feel like a delay, whereas this feels like the gears are just running through the muck. Like, it's just cloudy, and I'm trying to think about it, and it's just, nothing feels like it makes sense. If it's something I've already thought about before, I can kind of regurgitate it. So it'll come off as really weird. Like, I've had all of these thoughts already about this complex intellectual topic, and somebody asks me about it. I can be like, well, blah, 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 and say all this crazy stuff. And then they say something simple, or they ask me a simple question, and I'm just like, So that's what it's like. That's what celiac's like. IBS, my experience with this, and I guess there is an assumption that I'm making, this is IBS. It does seem like the low FODMAPs diet that is prescribed for IBS is working. It's helping my symptoms, but they're not totally gone. So how's it different? For one thing, I feel a lot more nauseous, just at a base level most of the time. And my experience with, there's also diarrhea, but it feels a lot more sickly. Like, with celiac, it's just kind of a fact of life. It's just coming out. It doesn't feel sickly in my body, like when you have a stomach flu. This kind of feels more on the sickly side, where I'm just kind of feeling gross all the time. And the bloating maybe isn't as bad, like, objectively. Like, I'm not as bloated, but the bloating that I feel is a lot more, like, I don't know what the right word is. It just feels a lot more gross, rather than just uncomfortable, which I'd say that for celiac, the bloating is uncomfortable. Like, you can't fit in your clothes, and it's just like, this sucks. But yeah, this is just kind of more like my stomach's churning. I feel like my insides are just kind of churning. And I guess this goes along with some of the medical explanation of, like, so I guess with IBS, it's like your intestines are actually moving irregularly, and they're moving like too much. And that's part of what's causing your symptoms. Whereas in celiac, it's more just that, like, your intestines are being damaged, and it makes it harder for them to intake nutrients. So you wind up, on top of like just the direct GI symptoms, you get all these nutrient deficiencies that cause other problems, and it's horrible. But anyway, so with IBS, I'm not experiencing exactly the brain fog or the inflammation at all. Um, I am experiencing depression. Um, and I am experiencing low energy. I wouldn't say it's the same as the fatigue that I have experienced with celiac, though. It's different. How is it? I'm trying to explain how it's different. I guess I just feel more like just depressed and unmotivated and listless and weak. And that's a similarity, I guess. I feel some weakness with celiac, but it's not the same kind of weighted down fatigue. Although similarly, resting doesn't seem to help much. Um, I can spend an hour or two resting and get up and feel pretty much exactly the same, which is, it's not a deal. And what else? I mean, I think I covered everything. I would say that maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, but I'm finding IBS harder to deal with, at least in the moment. Harder to function. And again, maybe this is a matter of what I'm used to, because with celiac, it's like I kind of really know a lot of good remedies, and I know how to treat myself and my body to kind of optimize the situation. With this, I'm kind of in the dark, so that might be part of that assessment. But the depression is hard, and it's I mean, this is a thing with IBS. I guess it's common. Anxiety is also sometimes a feature, but it hasn't been an issue for me. So yeah, I hope this helps somebody. I know that a lot of people struggle to be diagnosed with one or the other correctly. It's one of those things that's often misdiagnosed. And to that end, I want to talk more about bipolar disorder, because it's often overdiagnosed. And dealing with diagnosis issues are hard, because there's understandable reasons why it's easy to make mistakes as a provider. But when you're the patient, it can really derail your treatment and take a lot of time and energy away from you doing these things that don't actually help, or might even make things worse. So, yeah, I hope this is helpful. I'll talk to you later about something that you actually want to hear about, because I know this is gross. Bye.